Hey, welcome back to the shop. In this video, we're going to show you 3 different projects that'll sell, easily made with a CNC, and we're going to also show you one bonus project that was a result of carving one of the other ones. To begin with, we're going to talk about these tea light holders right here. Now, I must say before we go too far, these are not my designs. These were made by Mitts, and Mitts made what we call mystery files over at CNC with Me, and these 3 files are included in that file pack over there. If you happen to join the organization and go over there, you can actually make these 3 or 4 items. Now, Mitts sent me a message and he said, hey, I've got a project for you. Well, one project turned out to be 3. So we're going to start with this tea light holder. All of these projects are made out of black walnut. They're all finished with lacquer. You could finish them in any way you wanted. All 3 can handle any way to be. You could use polyurethane, lacquer, you could use rub-on poly, anything you'd like to use on these. The choice is yours. But let's begin with this thing. So it's a tea light holder that obviously holds tea lights, and we used blue candles. These are magnetic. I wouldn't recommend putting a fire on top of this thing, not with that horse that we've got usually running around here. He would hit this and knock it over. But these things are highly saleable at any craft fair or on your website if you chose to sell them. You were going to say something?
They're not magnetic.
Did I say magnetic?
You did.
They're battery operated. Let's try that for a change. Now, I did make a mistake when I carved this out. You'll see that later in the video. That's why I have 2 of these. And these are easily assembled. Let me see that one there, Lisa. These simply slide on and off, and you can adjust them where you want. The tolerances are pretty tight. So you just slide them on and pivot them out, and it locks them in place. We have 2. You don't necessarily have to use tea lights. You could use what Lisa's going to put up here now. You could turn these into a shot glass flight if you'd like to. Let's go out to the shop and we'll do some milling, and I'll show you how these things became what they are. So I'm using the blue tape and CA glue trick here to fasten this down. You can certainly use double-sided tape, but I prefer this method. As you can see, that's not going anywhere. So what I'm doing here is zeroing for the corner with a 1/4 inch downtown Jenny. You can't zero with a bowl bit. So once I find the 0, I'll switch to the bowl bit and re-zero for Z, as the little note there says, and we'll be good to go. Okay, so in a recent short you may have seen that I put that whiteboard next to the CNC to give myself reminders. Well, I also like to give myself exercise because I've gone back and forth in and out of this house twice now. I do my programming for the CNC inside, and then I bring it out here in this handy dandy protective case in the thumb drive. Well, when this package is in your back pocket and you keep going in and out trying to find it, you get your exercise. Let's get back to the carve. Now that I remembered, I put this in my back pocket. The tea light carve starts by hogging out 1/8 of an inch recess for each of the tea lights to rest in. It then continues along, and it will cut the profile cut and cut it loose. It's a very simple carve. It only takes a few minutes. Now remember, when you're looking for things, check your pockets. And when you start with the second tool here, you only zero for Z, not X and Y. Switch bits, 0 for Z, and continue. Okay, golden rule of the Hinkle shop. I made a mistake, I gotta tell you. I used the wrong piece of stock. It was supposed to be a 1/2 inch thick for these tea lights. So, I'm going to try to recover by sending it through here until I get relatively close. Then I'm going to cut it off on a bandsaw, sand it in, and I should end up with 2 of these things now. Okay, I'm pretty confident that's close enough. As you can see, I don't want to go any more deeper or for safety's sake. But I'll cut that loose. Maybe I won't. I'll cut it loose here on the bandsaw, sand this in, or maybe send it through there until I can get it inside of these little T-notches. Extra piece. And so my point to that was, just because you make a mistake on the CNC, don't throw your stock away. There's probably more than one way to correct the problem. After I separated that, I sent it back through the planer 1 or 2 more times to get it to the correct thickness. Once it fits through here, which I could have left it a little thicker, it wouldn't have mattered, but once it fits through here, as long as these guys are relatively close to the original size and design, we're good to go. So we're going to cut them loose. And then we'll sand in the edges all the way around, and it'll be pretty. Okay, the second project is this. Well, what is this? Very simple. It's a pencil or a pen cup holder made with multiple segments glued together here. It's a very interesting carve. When you carve this out, you're watching the machine run and you're thinking to yourself, what in the world is that thing doing? But Mitz has this nailed. He knows, he's got this one down. So one item about this thing, when you put it together, I would glue it together with CA glue. It's just a lot easier. It doesn't need to be squeezed too much. He has intricate cuts inside these things. These all lock together. So a few dabs of CA glue going around it, push it down, and you're ready to go. By the way, those shot glasses...
We collect shot glasses every place we go.
Yep, everywhere we go we collect these things. So it is a good alternative on the tea light holder. Again, this is project number 2, and this project is actually the project that creates the bonus that we're going to show you later on in the video. If you have any ideas what that might be, looking at the shape of this thing, put the comments in the comment below and we'll see if you can guess correctly. Let's go out to the shop and start milling this one out. So the carve loosened up the glue on this piece right here. Don't take it out of the mill. Put some CA glue in there. Push it together. Good as new. A little breeze out here today messing with me. Okay, project number 3. This is project number 3. Anybody got any ideas what this might be? Well, if I show you this, you may. For those of you out there that are D&D enthusiasts, this is a D&D...
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons dice holder, or I guess you'd say dice. It wouldn't be die, it would be dice holder. And again, Mitz has nailed the carve on this one, nailed the tool path because it's absolutely perfect. This is the top, goes right on it. I mean, the tolerances are perfect. Now, I added a little something to this thing with the laser. I got permission from Ham about that. I said, can I use the laser? He said, sure, go ahead. So we put the CNC logo on here, CNC with Me logo on here, and there's some special tricks involved with a laser that I want to talk about. When you have an odd shape, how do you center it? How do you know where the laser is going to run when you're doing something like this? And that's very easy. We can show you that also later on in the video. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. I do have some notes up there next to the camera as always. I do not know anything about Dungeons and Dragons. I do not play the game.
Nor
I don't
do
know.
I
don't know the rules. I don't know anything about it. So Tell me why you like the game, what's interesting about the game. Anything you can tell me about D&D that it might help me understand the whole. It's a big deal from what I understand. Help me understand all of that. Put the comments down below and tell me what you like the most about D&D or why I should start playing it. So let's go out to the shop and let's carve this one out, and then we'll come back once that's finished and we'll talk a little bit about all the other things, and I'll bring in the bonus and we'll talk to the bonus project. Now you could finish these with just about any product you like. I happen to be using some lacquer here. And another thing I like to do is put a piece of plywood or something down underneath, so when I want to pick this up and remove it, I can move it around like this rather than touching the piece more than I have to. We added a little bling there, as you remember. Something like this. Bring the next piece in and continue. Okay, bonus project that was made with this pencil cup carving. It's basically waste material that came from this cup. If you don't have any guesses, I'll help you. Here's a clue. Any idea yet? This is the most... I am so proud of this little piece here that I can't tell you. What is it for? It's a hot plate for your pans and your pots. She's going to use it way more than I am, but I am telling you, don't throw away the cutoffs from your mills and your projects, because they're versatile. If you put a little thought into it, you can make other useful items. This thing will go like hotcakes. I'm telling you, it'll go like hotcakes at a craft fair.
On a hot plate.
On a hot plate with a hot cake. So there it is. Let's go out to the shop and I'll show you how we put that crazy little thing together. So I'm making this little jig to hold these together. Not together, hold them in the correct position. I'm going to hold them like this. I'm going to put this on here like so. Both sides. That way when I go over to the drill press, I can clamp all of this in position. Take this out, put the next one in, take it out, put the next one in. And we're going to use some CA glue to do this. And the reason for the blue tape is to snug this up so it pinches a little bit. We're going to have these just above that. Thank goodness for CA glue. That doesn't have to be straight, doesn't have to be true. All that is something to create the pocket for that to set in. When you're making jigs, you don't have to be overly fussy about how pretty they are. The object is functionality, not the visual aspect of it. So now when I take this over to the drill press, I can set that in there and bang a hole in there. I can lock this in place and make it repeatable and get rid of that little knot hole. Let's go to the drill press. Okay, so it took me a minute to set this up, but now that it's set, I have a working jig that will save me a ton of time. The way it works is simple. Drill the hole, slide this out, turn this over, put it back in, slide it back in until this piece hits here, It's got a fence in the back that I'm sliding it along, and it will line right back up with 0. Slide it out, flip it over, put it back, hold it in, drill it out. Let's put it to work. Now I am going to steady that with my finger. I told you I was going to talk to you about how you locate an odd-shaped object when you're carving, when you're burning on your laser. Here's my method. There's many other ways to do this, but this is how I find the easiest way for me. I take a piece of paper, ordinary piece of paper. I set it down in my laser, and I create a profile cut for the shape. I bring the laser over and I cut out the shape out of the piece of paper. We find the center of the object with the laser, that's where the origin is, in the center of any odd-shaped object. Then you simply take that object and place it in the center of the paper, lining it up. Don't move the paper. Tape the paper down to your laser or whatever surface you have it on so that it can't move. Tape it down, cut out this waste piece, use that for a love note for your wife. And then take your stock and put it in there, line it up with the hole that you've created, and then carve on top of it. It's a simple, easy way to carve, burn, laser an odd-shaped piece. Now, cutting out this guy here, I recommend a solid piece of stock. By that I mean a 12 by 12 inch piece of any type of wood. Sapelli, black walnut, maple, any type of wood you want to use. During this carve, as you saw in the video, the little segment wanted to break off because it was a glue up that I made the panel with this out of. So if you had a solid piece, I don't believe that would happen. So again, solid stock for cutting out the cup holder. You can use any kind of wood, any kind of material you like for cutting out these guys. You can use any kind of finish. I'm 100% confident that you do well at a craft fair with any one of these items. These items are made with 2 bits out of the CNC with Me 3-bit pack that we use here at CNC with Me. We use a Downtown Jenny, and we use the... What is the other one? I knew what it was. I just messing with her. We use the bowl bit. So, 2 bits, CNC with Me. You don't have to CNC alone. You can CNC with me and her.